Hi, I'm Sarah.
And I'm Chantele. And we're here to talk about Big Brother Canada Season 10, Episode 9.
Oh my goodness, this house does not disappoint. But first, if you're new to this channel, please click subscribe and give this video a thumbs up. Chantele. I mean, we had the beauty and the disaster that was Kyle's HOH, and I feel like we're just still living off of the whole disaster.
Seeing the blind side again, like obviously I don't want Steph to feel bad and all that stuff, but it was so satisfying seeing the aftermath because we didn't get to see any of that. It wasn't on the feeds. So just seeing people running around and the conversations that were happening, like it was really good. And I personally really enjoyed this episode. I thought it was like really captivating, like so many conversations going on. We got to see a lot of people's perspectives and point of view and how the fallout of the Kyle reign was. I thought it was a great episode, and the beginning of this episode was so electric.
Right? I mean, we were all excited about the blind side last week, and now we get to watch the aftermath of it all. Yeah, I mean, Kyle is just like doesn't know how to even process. We see Jacey-Lynne like just kind of lose it. It's all amazing. So first off, though, Josh says, "Don't hug me" to Kyle, and I'm like, bless.
I mean, there's a part of me that like, because Kyle is so young, right? He's 23 years old, and like he doesn't necessarily know the game, and like he's like, from what I've witnessed from him for the last few days, he doesn't even realize what a bad job that he's done. And so I kind of feel bad for him because he just kind of seems like a little kid that's trying to play this game really well. And then the tough guy that he's trying to get out, like snubs him. And he just is kind of like, okay, well, I'll just, I felt a little bit bad for him, but he doesn't deserve a hug from Josh. He doesn't.
No, absolutely not. Yes. I mean, I feel bad for everybody who is like just completely lost and confused. This house could be so confusing. Imagine being just completely blindsided and not knowing honestly what happened. And that's like legit a terrifying moment in the house. Because
has that happened before? Like, I'm just trying to think of when like the last really good blind side really came through. Like, yes, there's sometimes the house is going to flip, but then somebody goes out there and like tells the head of household or tells the nominee that like, hey, like it doesn't look like it's going your way. And so I don't remember the last time we got a full on like
pure. Yeah. I mean, I'm not very good at remembering anything. It has been a while, especially in the US. We're so used to people being like, whenever the HOH wants.
Oh,
but this is so much better.
So juicy. It's so juicy. And people like blaming votes on other people. And Marty is like, 9-2, eh?
Oh, hey. Yeah, that's right. 9-2. Jacey-Lynne in the bathroom is on fire. She thinks it's Kyle that would have gotten the boys together to blindside her. And she's just like letting him have it. And he's like, I don't know what's going on. What are you talking about?
So like, who's her other vote? Like, does she think it is? Like, I was assuming that both herself and Gino thought it was Marty, just from what I was hearing from the feeds. Yes, like they didn't trust each other. I'm like, oh, they both probably thought that Marty was the one that stayed true and the other was the person that turned. But then when she's like, the boys, you got the boys to go do this, and you rally this, you're the head of household, you should have had control of the house. True. But who did she think was the other person that voted with her is my big question.
Right. Like it would, maybe she thought it was Marty too. Like maybe it's, but she's like the guys. She thinks all the guys, that's it. The paranoia of having a guys alliance making her look stupid. Like that has been clear. That is in the back of her head.
True.
Yeah. So she must have thought her and some other girl were the only two votes. I mean, it was just hilarious because she's like, do you even know? And he's like, no, I
He's like,
do not
I don't
know.
know what happened on my HOH. I don't know what happened. Like, and she's just like, I can't accept that you don't know what happened on your HOH. She's like, I don't know what happened. It's like, so
I do
good.
think it's also a little telling because like Stephanie and Jacey-Lynne spent the week in a bit of a bubble. Like they
Yeah.
just trusted and moved on with their life without actually continuing to play the game. And Stephanie sat there on the stage with Arissa being like, I have no idea what happened because she didn't know enough of the game to be like, oh, people were pissed at Kyle. They turned, right? And here we are. Jacey-Lynne couldn't see that people were so mad at Kyle that they were legitimately turning on Kyle. She's just like completely lost in this game.
And I think what it is just kind of like go hang out with like, so your like little cuddle buddy is like BFFs with like the head of household. And like, yes, your girl BFF is on the block, but like he's promising safety. And from what she probably knows is that the house votes with what the head of household usually wants. So she doesn't really have any reason to feel any differently. And so I'm hoping that this has lit a fire under Jacey-Lynne's butt to be like, oh, do you know what? People are still playing the game regardless of whether or not the head of household wants something to go a certain way.
Yep. Herman, I feel like plays this really, really well. He goes and talks to Gino first.
Right away.
Yes. Clear the air. Explain why he's mad at Kyle, does not like the way Kyle handled things. Kyle was basically blowing up my game, is what Herman is saying to Gino. He's saying, Gino, I still like you. I still want to work with you, trust you. But let me tell you, like, this is why I flipped.
And I love that from Herman. I
Yeah.
might have mentioned this already. Like, I didn't think I was going to enjoy his personality preseason.
Mm-hmm.
And he is a little bit of a car salesman with his approach to things and just kind of like, no, this is how I'm going to do everything, you know? And it's a little bit that, but I'm into it. I love the fact that he's trying to preserve his game. I love the fact that he gets into things early, gets his point of view to be the first one that someone hears and listens to, so that if anybody says anything after, he said it first. And so I think that he's really smart with that. But I think that Kyle's head of household reign really messed up the most for him. Like it really messed up a lot of things that he was in. And I'm happy though that he's trying his hardest to kind of rectify the situation.
Yeah, I mean, Armand has had to work so hard
He has an alliance with like everybody in the house, and then everybody from his alliances were nominated by his alliance member. Like, not great. Not great.
It was not. It was not great. And then Kyle's going to enter this conversation, and Armand is like, dude, you were power drunk. Like, whoa. And Kyle's like, Kyle doesn't have a lot to, you know, like he doesn't have a leg to stand on kind of vibe. Like he's just got to kind of be like, oh, really? And listen to people at this point and be like, huh, yeah, clearly. Okay.
But if you've watched some of the feeds or probably heard a little bit of the commentary, and like he's still not actually assuming any of the responsibility. Like people are saying this to him, they're like, this is how I felt, this is what you did. And his retort, from what I've heard, was like, well, I don't think I owe it to anybody to tell them exactly what I'm doing. It's like, well, maybe your alliance members, or maybe the people that want to trust you, because if you don't really bring them in on the plan and make them feel like they're part of the plan, they will make their own plans. Like he's just so bad at the game. It's actually hysterical.
Yeah, he really.
He's still good. He thinks he's still a good player, which is wild to me.
I think he struggles to see what really is going on, and he's very good at, you know, blaming other, like putting responsibility on other people.
They made me look like a fool.
Yeah, whereas like you take a minute to like question what you did, kind of thing. But no, that's not the world he lives in.
Not Kyle.
Poor Kyle. We created a monster. Gino is going to pull out this HOH, as people who are blindsided often do.
Which, like, I support this absolutely. I think it's like, so out of the 9 people that voted, none of them could win head of household. Like, what bad odds, but great for us, because it could have been a really easy week. And they didn't want to give us that week for Big Brother Canada. So I'm happy that Gino won, because it has been a little more interesting than if anybody else did, or maybe Jacey-Lynne might have been less interesting. But I was impressed. And he had been studying.
Oh yeah, I mean he did a great job. I was not excited that Gino won. Like he was one of the few that I didn't want to win because of how close he is to Kyle. But because of the dynamics of the house, it was, you know, I was open to see like, is this going to be interesting or is this going to be just like Kyle's HOH again, you know?
Yeah, I thought it was going to be immediately boring.
Mhm.
Definitely. But now that like
But now, you guys, hold up. But now it has gotten juicy. We'll get to more of that later when we
You
hit
know
the
what though? I do want to
spoilers.
mention one thing though about
Yeah.
Gino winning. And
Yeah.
I believe that was Taryn might have talked about this either on an update or on a recap, but he did say, and I thought it's something to take note of, is that Gino hasn't ever felt like he was not in power. His friends have always been in power since he's been there. So him studying freely was okay and fine. Anybody else really going in there and studying, they might look like, oh, they're scared, or they don't trust the head of household, or they're trying to protect themselves, or they're playing too much. And so I just thought it was just interesting though, because like, you know, himself, Kyle studied a lot, and like they were always like quizzing each other because they had the power, but everybody else wouldn't necessarily want to be so forthright and obvious about them studying because they were kind of in the minority and not in power. So I just wanted to point that out there. And then the other thing that he pointed out was the people that they chose, like production chose a competition that Kyle, Steph, Marty, and Gino were all the final four in. So they would definitely know for sure that, you know, they would maybe know exactly how long the competition was. So it could just be random, but it also could be that maybe production wanted Gino to win.
That's interesting. I would just assume the opposite. Like if you have been in power for so long, you kind of just study.
Lazy.
And then, yeah, the people who have not been in power are like, I have got to study and we can make it obvious because we're all need to be in power. I would have thought the opposite. No?
I mean, I can see that argument as well, but I can also see like, I don't want to look like I'm being too skittish, you know, especially being on the Kyle reign. Like, you don't want to look like you don't trust him, or you're trying. Why are you studying so much? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think that with the vibes of the house of the Kyle reign, maybe people are just like, I don't want to do anything to set him off, so I'm just going to just be cool, calm, and collected.
Interesting. All right. Well, Marty is going to be like, this is worst case scenario for me. And I'm like, probably Marty. I think so. And then it's funny because we do get it clear here that Gino thinks that Jacey-Lynne probably flipped. So like there's awkwardness between the two of them. She was not even excited that he won HOH because she's like, do I even trust him? I was like, you guys are smooching. What?
I mean, I guess that Marty was the person that proposed the Josh backdoor. And so I think that for that fact, they couldn't see any world where Marty would want to go against that.
So he's like, I know I didn't flip and I know Marty wouldn't flip. So Jacey-Lynne obviously did. I get it. I totally get it. Hi, Tom. This season. Okay, so Josh and Jess is the first conversation here that we see where they're worried that they're both probably going to be the noms. But they mentioned the whole, like, I mean, we should really try to get him to nominate Kyle and just be like, let the whole house, you know, it's the easy thing to do.
Yeah, of course it's the easy thing to do. But I personally think that Gino needs to think about who would actually come for him. So Kyle at this point, yes, he's the house pariah. Yes, like his head of household reign was terrible. Yes, he wasn't great. He didn't do a good job. But that's great to keep him in the house, right? Because that means that he is in front of you if anybody wants to put you up. I understand being scared that you'd be put up next to him. But I think that if I was in power, I would want to still keep my numbers because that is also another number that's working with me that could potentially win again. And chances are he would be voted out before me. So I think I would take that risk and get out somebody else completely that I knew was going to be coming for me.
go. But what I'm more interested in, Chantele, is that our sweet lover boy Gino is a Cancer. He's our only Cancer in this house. He's one of our few water. Like, we don't even have a lot of water in this house. And as a Cancer, he does not, the people that are close to him are the people that are close to him.
Yes.
It's his family. And so I really was interested to see how he would handle all of this. And I thought, in no way would he be like, you can try to get him to put up Kyle, but Kyle is his best friend. There's no way a Cancer goes against their best friend. But I also can see how you'd feel super, super betrayed. A water sign is going to emotionally feel
And then
that Marty, came for him. So Marty would have to go in his mind because of that personal betrayal.
Absolutely. I mean, I totally understand Marty being put up on the block. Like, I understand him wanting to make that move and feeling super betrayed. Absolutely. But I don't think Marty did himself any favors either, being like, I understand, like, like, I betrayed you. Like, you guys are my two best friends in the house. And like, you guys, like, I totally went against you and I went to the other side and I don't want to jump back and forth to each. Like, actually, Marty, what you should be saying is, I'm really sorry that I did that to you. I felt really betrayed in our alliance. I didn't feel like I knew what was going on. I felt like I was being played by you guys. And in that moment, I did what I thought was best for myself, my game, and that's why I made that decision. I'm really sorry that I didn't tell you about it, but this is me apologizing. He might still be in the same predicament, but I really don't ever like when people are like, I understand if you put me on the block. I understand if, if that's what you have to do. Like, no, I actually don't understand you putting me on the block. I can still be with you. And I wish that Marty didn't play the martyr and then hope that he's not going to be put up on the block, even though he gives somebody free reign to do that.
Yeah, he just was like, I get it. Put me up. I'd do the same thing if I were you. And you're like, all right, well, then you're going up. That's
right. There's no other choice.
That's how that's going to go. But when Herman talks to Gino, he's the one who's like, yeah, it was Marty who flipped. Because Gino at this point is still like, who flipped, Fessy? And he's like, yeah, he's like, no, Jacey-Lynne voted. And Gino's like, you think, my love? And he's like, yeah, Marty is the one who flipped, which just like blows Gino's mind. And then so when Marty talks to Kyle, though, Marty is just like totally open and honest, like you're saying. Like, he's just like, yeah, it was me. I did it. And Kyle's like, you are the one who told me to put Josh on the block.
I really think that Marty could have articulated himself a little bit better. You know what I mean? Being like, yes, I really wanted to put him on the block, but what I was seeing from you and how I was feeling in this game and what the reactions of everybody else about how they experienced what you were doing, it made me feel more comfortable to be working with them than working with you. Something to that effect. And just be like, I'm sorry. Like, that's how I was feeling from. And, for you to say things like, you're my boy. So I just thought that you would just be on board with whatever I did. Like, that's not really how this works. And so I didn't feel like I was part of the plan. And I'm sorry that I flipped on you. Just say, I'm sorry.
Right. But I legit, like, Kyle is the one person who should be really mad at Marty. Yep. He listened to Marty. Marty convinced him, once again, not to put up Betty, but to go for Josh. And then Marty is the one that flipped. I'm like, legitimately, if I were Kyle, I'd be so mad at Marty.
I would be hurt, actually, personally. Yeah. I'd probably be a little bit passive aggressive, not gonna lie. I'd probably be like, well, I'd be a little bit more emotionally manipulative, probably, unfortunately.
Yes.
But
Cancer moon.
No, Cancer rising, babe.
Cancer rising, thank you. Ooh,
my moon is Capricorn. My moon is Capricorn, which is the opposite. So which makes sense too. So I really just, if I was Kyle, I would definitely I would put Marty through it, but I would still be friends with him. I wouldn't allow Marty to completely leave. I'd just be like, listen, this is how I feel. Like, I'm just like so hurt. Like, I just look at this. I thought we were doing this together. Like, I would play up a little bit on the heartstrings, that we're still boys, that we're still together. Like, you made your decision because there was something that I did. How can we fix this? How can we repair this? And that's probably the approach that I would take, with a little bit of tears, probably a little bit of like, how can we fix this? And Kyle kind of does this. We don't see it on this episode, but maybe we'll see it on Wednesday. But he kind of does later, I think it was yesterday, talk to Marty and being like, can we work together? Can we work together? And Marty's just like, no, I chose my side. Like, I'm on a new side. I'm like, this is it. Like, so that's wild to me that, it's like not repairable. But I think it's because Kyle is not really good at admitting his fault in this whole situation. And people just don't feel comfortable working with him, knowing that he's so volatile.
Right. Yeah. Well, we finally get Gino, Kyle, and Jacey-Lynne together, and it's going to come out that Marty was the one who officially did flip. Gino and Jacey-Lynne are the 2 votes. Oh, the couple is so happy that they can trust each other. They're okay now. Kissy, kissy, kissy.
She goes and sits right down beside him in that little chair in that Expedia room.
That's right. They all talk about getting played, and Kyle's like, this is on me. This is on me. And I'm like, yeah, Kyle, it is.
Pretty much.
Yep. They
made a final 3. Did you like that?
Yeah. Well, good luck with that final 3, guys. Good luck with it. Gino's HOH room, yada, yada, cute dog, drunken pizza party, whatever, hot tub. Do you have anything you want to add about any of that? I don't care.
Well, what I liked about it was, my thought was, oh my gosh, I love seeing people have an experience. So one of the reasons why I would always love to be on any of these shows is that I do like building really good human bonds, human connections, friendships. And it just really illuminated for me the fact that these people are going to be linked together for the rest of their lives. Whether they like them, they don't like them, they're going to be seeing each other in events or not. So they're kind of having this like shared experience. And I just thought it was really cool when people were just like not thinking about the game, everybody's smooching in the hot tub, like having a good time. I super appreciate that, being the Aquarius humanitarian. I say thumbs up. I liked it.
Yeah, and they need that. Like, they need those little breaks and releases where they can kind of let it go. And we didn't get to see that stuff on the feed, so it's nice to see a little bit of it.
And they give way more booze than in the States. The poor States, like, I don't know what you're doing. 1 bottle of wine and like a 6-pack of beer for 14 people.
They're like, we have to split a beer?
Like, so random. Like, we know in Montreal, for instance, the drinking age is 18. I think some places in Alberta it's also 18 and 19 for the rest of Canada. So like, it's we're not used to having like our alcohol being super
restricted.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
So like when you see those big pictures coming out, I'm like, oh my God, I was in the States. Like, oh my God, they'd be like 1 picture for all 14 of you.
Yeah. Seriously.
Shot of beer. Not even the Century Club, if you know what that is. I don't know if it's a Canadian thing. No?
No, I don't know.
No? Okay, so just to let you know. So the Century Club is basically something that you play like in high school, whatever, and you just do 1 shot of beer every minute for 100 minutes. And so you end up getting pretty drunk, but it's only like you just do like, oh, shot, and like another minute shot, and you do 100 shots of beer. And that's like, an hour and a bit, or an hour and 40 minutes. So
this is just a fun game.
It's the Century Club. You know, something that you do in high school.
That would get you drunk. That would do it.
Wasted.
That would.
And our beer percentages are higher than you guys over there too. So we got a little tipsy.
Woo! All righty. Well, Gino is going to talk to Summer, and we do get to see Summer be like, "Put up, Kyle."
Okay, so the internet and Twitter are obsessed with Gino and Summer. And I do actually, from this conversation, I did see a little bit of flirtation that was going on. So we know that Gino is in something pretty legit, would say, with Jacey-Lynne. But like, there's something about the Summer sauce that, or Summer sales, we'll say, that he's kind of into. Like, he has a little bit of like hard eyes for Summer, I feel.
They are touchy. They are close.
Flirty.
She's known to be up cuddled next to him. Yeah, there is something there, and I think he takes what she says to heart and serious. And when she's like, "Look, I want to work with you, but like if Kyle's around, I don't know if you can be in the inner circle." He's kind of, just filing that.
And I don't know
Keep
if
in
they've showed it on
mind.
the episode, but he has a lot of people in his family that he says that are black, which I think is also really interesting. So he's like, I think he said like, oh, like my cousin's black, or like I don't know if it's in his family or like in laws, but like
Mhm.
I do like the possibility that there could be an Ika and Dimitri's part two. I'm with you guys in Twitter world.
Okay, all right.
I like the duo. They're cute together.
I mean, he's beautiful. She's gorgeous. I mean, I love Summer. Protect Summer at all costs.
Mm-hmm.
And if she wants herself some Gino, she can, I feel like, then take it. You can have whatever you want, Summer.
Yes,
That's
agreed.
how I feel. Kevin is going to put on a suit and tie.
Are you
He's
into
going
this?
to look, I'm into whatever Kevin wants as well.
Me too.
Honestly, whatever Kevin is cooking up, I am here like, what is this going to be? And it works for Gino. Like he is able to I guess not seem too serious because he's having fun, but he's also still being serious, if that makes sense. He's being a lawyer representing Kevin. He does say in this one-on-one, Kyle and Jacey-Lynne are the only two you can trust, which is an odd statement to make.
I mean, I think it works for Kevin because, he's being really open and honest without being completely open and honest. And
Mhm.
I think that with everything else that kind of gets lined up, I think that it helps Gino come to the conclusions, you know what I mean? Like of like, oh,
Yeah.
who he can trust, what he needs to do to gain the trust in other people. Like I do feel that it was helpful for the rest of the house to get Gino back on side because he's kind of like, you're out on an island and
Mhm.
those are the people that you can trust. But if you want to trust all of us, like, just putting that out there as a
Right.
thought. So
Yes.
I'm obsessed with Mr. Kevin. I love Andrew,
Are you?
his lawyer, other persona. I, I don't find him attractive at all, but all of a sudden I was like, I kind of like you. Like
Yeah.
there's something
Yeah.
about people that are like good at the game, that are willing to have fun, that they don't have any sort of like care about what they look like. I appreciate that. And so I feel like it
Right.
makes Kevin like a lot more attractive. And so I'm like, anything you put down, Kevin, I'm into. I think that you are fun. I'm rooting for you
Mhm.
100%.
Yeah. Agreed. He does say Gino says, "Who don't you want to see go?" Now, did he add on other than you? Because Kevin did not say myself. That should be your first answer.
I mean, maybe that's assumed, or maybe they didn't
Okay.
show it. I did think that though at the time, being like, okay, so myself, and then
Yeah.
what he said, what Summer and
He
Marty,
said
correct?
Tanisha. He
Oh,
said
Tanisha,
Summer and
Summer and Tanisha,
Tanisha.
correct? Yes.
And then he said, "I'm kind of up in the air on Jess. Like, I can't go after Jess myself, but like, I understand Jess has to go," kind of vibe, which I think is interesting just to get that from Kevin. And he's not always revealing his cards. So to hear him say that is,
Well, I'm wondering why he said that. I mean, maybe because Jess would be a much easier target than he would be.
mhm.
He could feel as though people would be on board with Jess being on the block. Herman obviously was trying to get them out week one. Jess should have been the person that Kyle nominated last week. So maybe he was just trying to throw up a person that would just deflect and it would be easy and just be like, hey, put up Jess and you won't be making any waves.
Mhm. I mean, I think it always has something more to do with the other person than what Kevin actually feels whenever he says anything. He's giving information that is important to whoever he's talking to. Now we see Gino and Jess talk, but like nothing really comes out of this conversation. I think they just give it to us because Jess is going to be a topic.
Absolutely. And I'm not sure what it is with Jess. I want to like them so much more. I'm rooting for them. They're on a couple of my drafts, but they just don't know how to be fun, cool, chill, like BFFs, like don't know how to kind of get into that pocket. And it's just kind of upsetting sometimes because I do feel like they have a like potential in the game as a gamer, but as a social player, they don't seem to understand how to fit into certain dynamics.
Yeah, I am still hardcore here for Jess though. But yes, Jess's social game is just not great. I mean, I think it's getting better.
Well, like
But
yesterday, I
still
was
not
watching the
great.
feeds for a second, and it was the morning. It was the first day of spring. It was really nice out. It actually really was nice outside yesterday, and like everybody went outside, and they went outside, put on their little jacket, and then everybody left as soon as they came outside, and they were just having their coffee. Like, oh, you're leaving, and just standing there having
Oh
their coffee by themselves, and I'm
no.
just like.
That's
It was really
awful.
sad. And they were just like, okay, well, I'll just be outside here for a bit.
That
So,
stinks. But
it does
that's the
sting.
thing. Jess is really good at the game, very smart, very strategic, but the just social just does not work. And yeah, I want to root for Jess, but yeah, they're
Maybe
not
it's
going to
because
make
they're
it
not
very far.
funny. Or hasn't figured out how to have humor or inside jokes with anybody. Because that I
No,
think is a really great way to bond with people.
sure,
And you would notice that the most of the people that get along, they laugh together.
right.
So I wonder if they don't really know how to have like inside funny jokes with people other than
Mm-mm.
maybe their real life friends.
Yeah, I think Jess takes things very seriously, in game mode, even when it's not game, it's like serious conversations. And you're like, we're just trying to just chill and have a laugh. Yeah, I hear you. Gino and Tanisha are going to talk, and this is going to turn into an emotional moment talking about Tanisha's opportunity, her daughter, being a single mother.
Did you find this touching at all?
Yes, I was touched, but I did not cry. Did you cry here?
I didn't cry, but
Okay.
my eye ducts got a little bit squeaky. There's just like a
What?
little tingle. It was a little tingly, but not a tear. Not a
Okay.
tear, not one single tear down my cheek. But I did get a little bit like if I wanted to cry, if I wanted to use that, I could make myself cry. But
Yeah.
it was just a little bit like, oh.
Well, I'm always like, oh no. It's dangerous to reveal things like that because it's nice to bond. And I mean, ultimately, it's great to bond emotionally with a Cancer or any water sign. But talking about something like being a single mother and this opportunity, like that's a reason I'm going to cut you from the game. So revealing
Not a Cancer,
that.
though. A Cancer?
No, not a Cancer, but anyone else, I feel like that's dangerous information to
I was
give.
hoping that Tanisha would have spoken to Gino in French
Mm,
because I think that when I was there, I'm like, yes, she's saying the right things to show why she wants to be there. Like that was one of his 3 questions that he was asking people.
mhm,
And yes, she was kind of, appealing to his heart. And he's like, "I'll give you a hug." Like, "Oh, like don't cry." Like, but I
mm,
wish that she had allowed herself to have that little bit of a French bond because I think that's one of the reasons why he's really connected with Marty is because they speak
yeah,
French a lot of the time, and he knows that Marty is obviously English is his second language, and so they have that little bit of that bond of being able to speak French together. I wish that she
yeah,
was using her ability to speak French fluently with Gino in these situations so they feel like she could create a little bit of their own little pocket, their own little duo, That's what
yeah.
I was
No,
hoping.
absolutely. Do anything to bond with, well, especially the HOH. but to bond with the other house guests that maybe sets you apart from other people. Hi, Diva. Yeah, so Wendy's is going to happen. Gino's going to take Josh, which is nice. And then Sarah, season 3 winner, Gino's going to be like,
He's like,
who?
She did look different.
Does she?
Oh, sorry, you haven't seen that season. So
I too am like, who?
She was blonde in her season. So even for myself, was she wearing glasses in that, or no? I can't remember. She definitely looked different. She's usually glasses wearing, or she at that time anyways, with blonde hair. And so she definitely looked like, I was like, is that Sarah? Like, I had to do a double take. And I thought he was doing a double take because he thought she looked different from season 3. But it seems like it was a double take because he had absolutely no idea who she was.
Yeah. He's like, huh? And then meanwhile, she's like, Gino, it's so fun to watch you guys. And he's like, okay. But I think the fact that he didn't know her, he might have actually listened to her, whereas everyone else, I don't think, is listening to what these winners are giving them. But it did seem like he was like, oh, okay, I like that one. That's a good tip. She says, don't count anyone out.
And she also says, don't get in your head, which is what every single head of household, I think, has been saying each week, like previous winners. And Kyle didn't listen. We know that. And so I'm wondering if Gino will listen to that portion, like, don't get in your head.
That's so hard to do. Once you're trapped in that house, all you can do is get in your head. Like, you can't not get in your head.
I mean, I would only be in my head. I was talking with Jojo
Impossible.
Thursday, and we're just talking about, like, if we were in that house, there would not be one moment of downtime. Like,
no,
we would pretend like we'd just be like hanging out, like we're having a good time, but like the wheels would always be turning. I would be no downtime for 3 months.
And that's why people lose their minds. The longer they stay in there, they go straight cray cray. But ultimately, this Wendy's date is a good rebuilding of trust between Josh and Gino. I think they are better for this time. Oh my God, Kevin and Betty. What is Betty? What is Betty?
Thank you, Betty. Like, whatever that Kevin fighting, like not understanding him, like it could be Aquarius and Virgo, like not the vibes. Like, I get that as well.
Tough.
But it was just so happy to see that moment. I got more emotional, we'll say, in that moment when they were speaking about the fact that Marty thinks that he's going to be a really good dad, and Kevin got a little bit emotional. I don't know if it was real or put on or not, but like I felt it in that moment that he felt a little bit proud. And I love that Betty was like kind of coming to the conclusion that Kevin's not all that bad.
Right. Betty is so dramatic, and I felt like it was just displaced on Kevin.
Yeah.
Like, there are other people to worry about, I think, for Betty than Kevin. So I just found it hilarious that Betty was like, no, okay, this Kevin guy's not that bad. When she's like, you're horrible.
You're going to put me, you're coming for me? You're coming for me? And he's like, yeah, I'm coming for you, Betty. I'm coming for you. Like, I love that he doesn't actually get offended. Like, everything just kind of rolls off his back. Like, he's just kind of like, she'll come around. I'm not really threatened by her. Like, I do like how he has handled her. And and it's for good reason, because right now it seems like they could be developing a decent friendship. So I thumbs up it.
Right. And the fact that they were able to have like some real moments here about being a parent, about her dad, and they genuinely like, those are lovely moments to have with, and again, build those genuine moments with people in the house is just good for you overall. Gino and Marty are gonna talk. Marty played with his heart. Gino is hurt. He's gonna go up. Marty's like, absolutely. We already talked about this, but okay.
Sarah, would you just allow someone to put you up on the block like that? Would you just be like, just give it to them, be like, I get it. Like, I did something bad. I went against my 2 best friends. I deserve it. Put me up. Like, I would never say that. I would never say that.
Honestly, that is a very Sagittarius thing. So I would it would be in me and I would want to do it. And I would have to tell myself, all right, let's come up with something to say, because we do just own up to stuff. And we're like, I get it. I would do the same thing if I were you know, but I would have to, I think I would go along kind of like what you were saying of like, I did do it, but here's the reasons why. And I'm so sorry to betray you. I'd put more of it on Kyle, like Herman did. It was really Kyle. This is not a betrayal to you, you know. Build it up. Hey, don't put me up. We can work this out. I'm here, you know, whatever you have to say. Don't ever, I agree. I'm not going to ever say, yeah, put me up. It's just not going to happen.
In the game? Like,
no.
Never
No.
make it easy for people to put you up.
No, if you tell them it's okay, they will do it.
Exactly. It's an easy
Make
free ride.
it hard. Whatever it is, cry, scream, whatever.
Yeah, we want to see you do all the things to not be put up on the block.
Yeah. So we're gonna see Gino talking to Kyle, and Gino's kind of like, hey, I'm a bit guilty by association with you. And Kyle is pushing for Herman, but we kind of see how Gino's like, I don't think so, because I have a relationship with him. That's on you.
See, that's what's so frustrating about Kyle not understanding how this game works. Because like the reason why his head of household week went to shambles was for the fact that he wasn't respecting his alliance. He wasn't working with, so he should have been like talking to the Savage Seven and being like, what do you guys think? He should have been talking to the Retreat. What do you guys think? He should have been talking to the Four Bros, the Village Voice. Like, what do you guys think? And coming to some sort of mutual decision that would satisfy all the three groups that he's in. That's what should have happened to a certain extent. He can obviously do whatever he wants, but he should have been having those conversations with those groups. And then he decides to put up people from those groups and not expecting people to be upset by it. It's just inane to me.
Oh yeah, it made no sense. I mean, if you want to last in the game, those are things that you should have done. But if you would like to go out very, very soon, do what you did, Kyle, and blow up your own game. Jacey-Lynne enters, and luckily for Tanisha, she enters at just the right time, because Gino does say, you know, Marty, Tanisha, and Jess are the three that we're talking here. And she's like, well, putting up Tanisha is very much like what Kyle did last week. Do you want to be that messy? And you're like, thank you. Someone has just a little bit of ounce of reason here for just a second.
Especially since the big move didn't go home last week. So chances are the big move is not going to go home this week. So really, you want to rock the boat to put up Tanisha when you don't have to, you know?
You know, the point is, and a few people have made it over the last week and this week and a half, is that there are still plenty of people in the house. You don't have to turn on your own alliance yet.
It's just like you have like 3 weeks. You don't have to turn them until jury, basically.
Yeah, you got some time. There are other people to consider, but they love to think about
make a big move week 4. Like nobody cares about your move in week 4, babe. Like,
no, your big move in week 4 gets you evicted in week 5 is what happens. All right, so we are going to see the nominees here. They are going to be Marty and Jess, not Tanisha. Gino does say words like betrayal and backstab, I believe, in regards to Marty, because Marty has been pissed about this speech for a couple days.
And I was waiting for some like horrendous speech where I was like going to be like, oh my God, like Gino, like take a step back. And I was like, oh, that's the speech. Like, that's what you're so upset that you can't go down and eat food with everybody, Marty, because like, and all of Canada is going to see this speech. Like, all of Canada knows the game that you're playing. You didn't do anything that we weren't cheering for. We were like, I mean, he could have not done the flip, and like I would have been fine with Marty not done the flip, and like I would have been fine with Marty not doing the flip, because I would totally have understand him wanting to preserve his numbers, his game, all that stuff. But he thought that he was the swing vote, and so I think this is all because he's like, oh my god, I misread the situation and I made a bad move. I think that that's more so than what he feels kind of like a type of way about, because what Gino said, like, oh, you backstabbed me, like you made me feel like I couldn't trust you. Like he kind of took everything on as how he felt. And so the fact that Marty was like, oh my God, you made me look like a terrible person, I was like, not really. You didn't really.
I mean, I just don't understand how we just saw you sit down with him and say, no, I get it. Put me up. I understand. And then, but you have problems with him saying it in a speech. Like it's the same conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Gino was like, I was hurt by your betrayal. He stands up and he was like, you betrayed me. You're going on the block. Like these are the same. Why are you all of a sudden mad? I don't understand.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. I have more to say, but it's spoiler full a little bit. So
okay, here we go. End of episode. So now we can go into spoilers for the week. Are you ready, Chantele?
Mm-hmm.
Spoilers. It's in round. Remember, guys, it's in a round. Okay. Don't judge us on our lack of synchronicity. It's just impossible. You guys, guess who won Veto?
No surprise, babe. Marty, the first two-time competition winner this season.
This has been the fourth Veto in a row.
That a nominees
where a nom has won and is going to take themselves off. We have not had a week in season 10 where a nominee,
which I love. I love that.
Right?
I love it.
How did we get blessed with this? This is amazing.
Well, Arissa has been saying that she's been really involved in like the production of it all. 7. Okay, I'm taking a 7. 7's not bad.
Got a
10. That's saying that she really wanted to make the competitions where there's not going to be a big pagonging and like, you know, just a steamroll and like all the physical person, like every competition.
Yeah.
And, you know, so I think whatever her input has been so far for this particular season has been working, because it's been all new winners for head of household up until this one. This is the first new winner for first two-time winner, which is wild that we've gone so many. This is what, like the 11th competition, and they've all been from different winners. So I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think it's so fun. I think a little bit has to do with the fact that the HOH doesn't get to play for Veto. That helps because, you know, especially in the earlier weeks, like week 1 and 2, nobody wants to win Veto if they're not a nominee. So that helps that. But, you know, now we're getting into it and more people are willing to win Veto, but still nominees just have that like, to it where it means more to them. That got that push and they're winning. And it's so amazing. So I was all for Marty going on the block for sure, but I'm also all for Marty winning Veto, taking himself off and Gino having to figure out who else he could put up. Now, guess what? Who is on the block sitting next to Jess, Chantele?
I can't even believe that it's true. I cannot even believe that it's a real thing, that the influence of some of these players and for Marty wanting to feel part of the house, part of what's going on Big Brother Canada 10, he puts up his closest ally in the game, Kyle Moore.
Kyle Moore is on the block at the hands of Gino. It happened.
I was so upset for the fact that we weren't going to get like the third Kyle in a row going out fourth. And like, I was like, oh my God, I need that statistic. And I also needed to be a Virgo because it would be the fourth Virgo going out in a row this season. I'm like, I need these stats. And I was like, okay, the stats not going to happen, but it will.
I am shooketh. It actually happened. I don't care how good or bad this is for your game. I just love it. I just love it.
I can't even believe that he came around to this. But I think that wanting to be popular was more what Gino wanted to have. You know what I mean?
Yes.
He's not the type. Him and Jacey-Lynne are the type of
Mhm.
people to be on the outside of a vote. Like that's not the role that he's used to playing. You
That is
know,
not the game they signed up for. No, no,
right?
no.
Like
Mm-mm.
what? We're gonna be like not
On the
popular,
outs?
not cool, on the outs,
Yeah.
outcast. Like, no, 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 no. So I think that he was like, if this is gonna allow me to re-immerse myself into this house, this game, like I'm gonna do that. Even though I don't particularly think that it was best for his game. I'm obsessed with this move because I was like, if Kyle went up, it would have been a boring week, right? If somebody else won, Kyle goes up, boring week, Kyle goes home, most likely, unless he won the veto. But this, we at least got like a completely other game. We thought things were going one way, and then we still get what we want in the end. So it's great.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I don't think it's horrible for Gino's game. I think that yes, Kyle could have been a number for you long run, but Kyle is messy. So is he a great number to have?
True.
Does this give you some agency with other people in the house? And are you going to maybe be more popular and not the next one to go next week kind of vibe because you and Kyle both are going to go up and maybe Kyle wins veto and then you're just the one they send out. Like it is questionable if you stick, your game and you say, no, I am with Kyle and we are going to play this game together. Is that really worth doing this early in the
Well,
season?
the comparisons have been, so you haven't seen Big Brother Canada 6.
Mm-mm.
So there was a head of household that put up someone from their alliance because they wanted to do the house's bidding and take
Mm.
that person out, and it did completely tank their game. Another comparison was Jessica from 19 putting up Ramsey's, ended up
Oh,
being a detriment to her game. And so
yes, but that was
sometimes
dumb.
but sometimes, making the consensus for the house and losing one of
Right.
your numbers is not
Yes.
necessarily beneficial long run. It may seem as though, like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm going to make nice with everybody, but you are losing a little bit of your power with making this conceding here
Yeah.
here, I'll give you this person. Will you stay away from me? They probably won't. They probably will still come and attack, but
Right. But I think you have to genuinely do some work to build some relationships
yeah.
at the same time, which you should be doing anyway as HOH, which Kyle
Hmm.
did not do. But Gino, I think, is doing a little bit of that. We'll see if those turn out to be actually real relationships that keep him going in this game. I don't know about that, but he's trying to do a little bit of that because I think that's just the way he works. He's not going to be a strategic mastermind, but he can make some social
Yeah, he
moves.
he's he is a social person. He's
Yeah.
liked by a lot of people. I think it is possible for him to reposition himself better than the other people that have made similar moves where it hasn't worked out
Yeah.
in their favor. I think that he's a more social player than those people, and less on the outs than those people were that were doing the house's bidding. So I definitely think. Go ahead.
Ramses was never a threat, though, in the game. Let's just remember that
I
taking
know.
Ramses out
I
was
was
such
furious.
a waste. Yes, I was furious as well. Kyle has, I think, just a little bit more of a threat status.
And if I remember the time when it happened in season 6, the person, like, there was a twist and they had to nominate half the house, or like save half
Mm,
the house from like being like potentially like a nominee. And so like he was in a kind of a terrible position, but this was his best friend in the house. And like he was like would never put him up, and they were the two oldest people in the house, and like he put
mm.
him up and he went out, and then he never won the game in the end. So it was a terrible move at the time, and I was screaming at my TV screen for that move as well in season 6.
I
So
wonder though, because he is the self-proclaimed, what, like I think he said preseason, like he's a lover. We knew he was going to get in a showmance. I wonder though if he's the type of guy who's like, my girl comes first, and like getting rid of a bro is actually not that hard for him.
So like his girl is being Summer.
Well, Jacey-Lynne or Summer, but
I
it's
mean, I
currently
think
Jacey-Lynne. We have to say it's currently Jacey-Lynne, but it might
I
be
mean, I
Summer.
wouldn't be surprised if he would play the whole Knight of Cups type vibe, knight in shining armor, like take
Ooh.
out, the men for my lady. I mean, I do
Mhm.
think it's good for both of them to just get back into the good graces of the house. So hopefully this will work out for his like benefit, but it is a little bit like there's other people that he could have taken out that wasn't a number for him.
Oh, for sure. Once again, there's plenty of people in the house. You really don't have to turn on. I mean, like, I think all weekend he was like really, he was back to like, I guess I could go to Nisha, Betty. Like he had names that aren't really working with him. So no. Kyle, okay. Kyle, great.
But then
But
it
all
bothered
right.
me also that Kyle didn't even really put that up a fight. I'm like, if you're not going to put up a fight to stay, then bye. You know?
Oh, what fight? What fight does he have? I mean, yeah,
Please
sure, I'd
don't
love to
put
see
me
it
up.
tried, but like, mm-mm.
Don't put me up.
Well, he
You
didn't
need me in
know.
this. Well, he did have a
He
conversation with him.
he did a really Gino did a really good job of waiting till the last minute to tell Kyle. And I think Kyle was so like Kyle's not good at the game. Like if someone comes at you last minute, he didn't have a pitch. He didn't, I don't think he had anything prepared. And so he's not good in the moment. We saw that.
True. But all he has to be like, Gino, I'm sorry for whatever I did last week. I understand that, you know,
Yeah.
we've been working together. You voted for me. I'm sorry that I had a bad finger. My finger was not on the pulse of last week. Let's
Mm-mm.
work together. We need to stick together. Like I'm a number for you, me, you, and Jacey-Lynne. Like let's figure out how we can get together further. If we stay together, we have a better shot. I could
Yeah.
win next week and keep you safe. Like just
Right.
let me do this. Let me get to jury. So at least if I don't win, I could be a vote for you. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. He could have just said a lot of things just
All of
to
those things. Those are
maybe
great
keep him.
things. Yep. Those are all very good things you could say. But Kyle Moore is not good at this game and he does not know them. And now that he's on the block, it's like, what can I do? Who can I talk to? I don't think there's anything he can do. And I don't think he is going to come up with anything.
there's I don't think he has a shot. If he
Mm-mm.
couldn't keep himself off the block, I don't think he has a shot to stay.
Right. Yeah. Gino was his only shot.
His alliance server won. He voted with him last round and he wins head of household. You should have been like, whoo! I only had
Yes.
2 people that could have possibly kept me safe, and Gino was one of them. So, like, the fact that you couldn't keep him, that's a problem.
This is bonkers. The season is so good just because it makes no sense. These people are just, I don't know what they're doing, but it's so entertaining.
I'm definitely fine with Kyle going home. He's
Yeah.
not on any of my drafts. Jess is on my draft for a couple of them. So I'm very happy that Jess is going to stay a little bit longer.
Right.
Hoping that she is, or they are going to make some bonds with some people. I've seen her have a few conversations with Helena.
Yeah.
Her and Helena, or them and Helena, have been talking about maybe not being so fond of Herman, and maybe Moose a little bit. And so I'm happy that Jess at least is seeming to build a little bit of a bond with Helena, and so that could be helpful for their game moving forward. But
Yeah.
Kyle.
Oh my gosh. How did we get
No
here, Kyle?
more Kyle. I mean,
poor Kyle. He's going to come out pre-jury to BB Twitter, who he thought loved him. And now he's going to be like, oh no, they're making fun of my game. I am not the legend I thought I was.
Oh, it's heartbreaking.
I mean, it is a little sad, but
It's
hey.
really sad, especially because he doesn't feel like he's had a bad. He's like, was my week as bad as like exactly? It actually was the worst. It's so wild. And even like when you know that it's a bad week, when like the casuals are like, this is a bad week for this guy.
Yeah.
If the casual that hasn't even seen like the back and forth for the entire week and they're
Yeah.
only seeing the edited video, like that
Right.
ain't good. If they
But
can tell.
yeah, it's also amazing that BB editing is like, oh, we're going to make sure that the casuals get it. I love that. Yeah, what's going on? I see people not so happy with Helena. Is it just because she is legitimately floating and
I'm thinking it's because
she a bit of a rat?
she's not into Herman, I think, and I think that she's kind of throwing Herman on the bus. That's the only thing that I can think of right now. Maybe the chat can help me out if there's something that I'm missing, but she's definitely really think that Herman is doing a lot more than he is. And is she another person that's anti Tanisha or thinks that Tanisha's running the game? I can't remember if she's part of that crew.
Oh, is she
There's a
not
bunch.
with yeah. There's a bunch of people who think Tanisha is like the mastermind.
Yeah, like Tanisha is like Dr. Will kind of thing, and
Mhm.
she's the head of the other side, and Tanisha just like, I just want to be here for my daughter.
Look, I am here for floaters. I'm here for rat floaters. Own your game if that's what
I
she's
see.
doing. I also Herman is like at this point is like my winner pick. Like he is playing such a good game. So if she's on to him, I'm okay with that too. Like I have to be understanding if someone's on to one of the best players in the game.
I think I understand what I am saying. So
Mhm.
so what ends up happening like when we increase the amount of diversity is that like at times other minorities might lump things in with like the black players, and so I think that maybe people are not exactly happy if Helena's not working with the black players, and so I think that that's why. So it's like it ends up becoming black and white, and then Helena POC in the middle, and they just want POC in the middle to be working with the black people. I think that
Yeah.
could be what is going on here, and I would say POC has a different life experience than black people, and so they are used to being able to float between cultural differences, and so they just have a different way of interacting with the world. So I understand where she's coming from, but I kind of understand a little bit more as to maybe why they're not happy with her, because they want Summer to do well, right? They want Summer to do well.
Yeah.
And so if Helena's not helping Summer do well, I can see people being kind of like help her out. Don't help out Kyle.
No.
Don't help out Kevin. Help out Summer.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree. I want everyone to help Summer. But if and I do know that Helena is one of those types of people who like will say whatever is needed to be said in this conversation, and you move on to another one, and she's not necessarily loyal to what she just said. She's now going to say whatever is needed in this conversation. And so I mean, I don't hate that yet. I kind of have to see where it takes her. But
I'm not
get
mad
it.
at her yet, though.
Yeah.
Personally.
Yeah.
Not yet. But if she says too much and gets Herman in more hot water, I'll be like, Helena, pick and choose your battles, please. Because there's a lot of other people that you could target right now that I would prefer over Herman. So
and also like that's messy and you got to do it really, really well. And like Kevin's doing it really, really well. But if you can't do it, Helena, then you're gonna get burned. Come back on you. For sure. All right. Well, that is this week. I mean, I will be surprised if Jess goes out over Kyle this week.
No chance.
I think Kyle is bye.
Like, I think he has maybe a 1% chance. But like Jess just needs to keep on turning the oven on early and putting that bacon in the oven every morning. Like, make sure that everybody's fed and happy. Like, I think that if they just continue to do that, they will be able to stay.
Yeah. Don't mess anything up this week, Jess. Just hang tight. And then maybe, just maybe, someone can actually win HOH and give someone else power.
Who are you rooting
Maybe.
for to win HOH? I mean, Summer, we get it.
Yeah, although I don't know, does Summer need to win HOH? Like, if you don't
No.
need it, don't go for it. But like, I would love to see a Jess or a Josh HOH just because they deserve to have a little power.
Yeah.
I
I would like to see, because we've seen so far, so the head of households have been Herman, Marty, Kyle, Gino. Can we please have a little estrogen as our head of
Yeah,
household, please?
I would love it.
A little
Yes,
bit.
please.
So
I would
I'd
like
love some
that.
estrogen.
And I would like someone who's just been like climbing, trying to
Betty
get.
might be interesting. And now that she's like on good terms with Kevin, like, are you?
I mean, I think,
Sorry, are you looking at me? What are you? What?
yeah, I'm like, Betty, ugh, I don't know if I can handle a Betty HOH, but I bet it would be entertaining AF. That, yeah. But I don't know who would even survive a Betty HOH. I don't know. She would
I don't
terrorize
actually
the
know
house.
who she would put up, to be honest. It's true. I'm just thinking of giving power to somebody that hasn't had any power all game and been like,
Yeah,
her emotions have been toyed with. Like, I'm gonna put you up, I'm not putting you up, I'm gonna put you up. So
right.
it would be interesting. I'd take
I
a
don't
Kevin head
know.
of household.
I mean, I would love for Kevin to have some power, but I don't know if it's too early. Like, I feel like Kevin's okay. So keep floating under the, well, he's not fully under the radar, but
I
I
wouldn't
don't know if
mind
he
him
needs to win.
solidifying his jury spot with that,
True. That's true. Whoever wins this HOH is guaranteed jury.
which is
And
pretty
maybe he
great.
can really like solidify who he's
Some
actually
groups.
working with. Yeah. If he were
Mhm.
HOH. That's a good idea. I'm for that.
Definitely. I'm into anybody winning. That's kind of how I'm feeling about this house.
I mean, as much as I love Herman, I really don't want another Herman HOH yet.
I don't want to repeat. I want
Yeah.
a new head of household,
No Marty.
but
No
anybody.
Gino. Yeah. Give me a new person, preferably a Jess.
Estrogen.
Yes. Or a
Estrogen
Summer
heavy.
or a Tanisha. Yeah. Give me some estrogen. That's it. That's what it boils down to, for sure. All right. Well, on Wednesdays, I'm here with David for Survivor. So I'm back on Thursday for Big Brother Canada. What do you have this week?
So I'll hang out with you tomorrow and watch some Australian Survivor.
4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern.
Exactly. And then Wednesday, I will go live after the episode with Jonathan. Thursday, I will be on Rob as a podcast for the recap. And then on Friday, I'll be with JoJo to talk about the eviction episode. And then Sunday, watching this week's episodes of Australian Survivor.
Yay!
Or not watching, sorry, recapping.
Recapping, because we are watching tomorrow. And Ellen, our Aussie that's in the chat right now, says tomorrow is awesome. So yay for these episodes that we'll watch.
I have been hearing that. This is true.
Oh, good, because we've been kind of like, what's happening here? Meh. But that's exciting. Okay, join us on Twitch if you are watching Survivor Australia over there tomorrow. Everyone in the chat, thank you so much. You're amazing. If you're joining us later, leave a comment. Let us know how you feel about this Gino HOH. Marty winning Veto. Like, what?
Just it's great.
Give us your feedback. Yeah. And we'll see you next time, guys. Bye.
Bye.